at the Eden Town Hall. So Eden Town Hall is a vibrant community forum dedicated to exploring the future of collaborative decision-making and fractal governance. These events follow each Eden Fractal event where we gather to dive deeper into the ideas, innovations, and strategies that are transforming how communities coordinate and make decisions together. Eden Town Hall has been operating since 2022 with a break in between around 2024, and we recently revived it. And overall, we've hosted over 65 events at Eden Town Hall featuring discussions with pioneers at the cutting edge of governance and coordination. We invite everyone to join and watch our videos and learn more on the website edentownhall.com, where you can RSVP. You can learn more about Eden Fractal and the new Epoch 2 initiative that Eden Fractal has embarked on Base and Ethereum, and where you can join the conversation by RSVPing and checking out the videos and everything like that. Encourage you to check it out. And also you can check out edenfractal.com to learn more about this community that's dedicated to optimizing collective decision making through collaborative research, development, education, education, gamification, community engagement. I can talk well. All right. We invite you to also check out the Eden Town Hall videos. We had an excellent episode last week, or I suppose 2 weeks ago, when we talked about community governance and fractal expansion. And actually, no, the most recent episode was about event scheduling, where we determined the new or the upcoming break schedule. Basically, Eden Town Hall, along in the same schedule of Eden Fractal, will be taking a one event break. So we won't be meeting on August 14th, but we will be meeting again for the second half of the season on August 28th, and then we'll be returning for our bi-weekly schedule at the same time. Optimism Fractal will also be taking a break. It just started its break last week, and it'll be returning on September 4th. And thereafter, we'll have bi-weekly events at our routine schedule for Eden Fractal, Eden Town Hall, and Optimism Fractal, along with Optimism Town Hall when proposals are made. So invite you to watch these videos. We also had a great discussion about Epoch 2, where we're at in the Eden Fractal Epoch 2 and a legislative consensus process, and also basically determining the next steps in Epoch 2. And one of the main things we talked about was the consensus process, the legislative consensus process that we are working to adopt and choose for Eden Fractal going forward in the rest of Epoch 2, or the next steps at least. So you can watch this video on the Eden Careers YouTube channel. Encourage you to check it out. There's a lot of great content, and thanks everybody for the excellent discussions that we had here at Eden Town Hall. And then also, of course, you can watch the Eden Town Hall playlist for all the past episodes with governance leaders and all the exciting things that we've been up to here, and check out the Eden Fractal videos, Optimism Fractal videos, and much more on the Eden Careers YouTube channel, where you can see people playing the respect game and participating in fractal governance. For today's discussion, we have a few topics on the agenda. So I mentioned the legislative consensus process, options for Epoch 2. That's something we agreed at the end of last week's event to discuss and try to form a consensus about before we head into the second half of the season. So I can give a brief overview there of what we discussed so far and the options and our next steps there. Also, Zaal has recently proposed a fractal of fractals system, I suppose I can call it, for the Zaal Fractal that enables community-hosted respect games. And maybe Zaal can present that a little bit, and we can talk about that, because it's a really interesting idea where people in the Zaal Fractal can play respect games if it meets certain requirements, and earn respect and give respect to other people, a way for a fractal to become perhaps more fractal. And also Impact Concert collaboration planning. So Easy and Jose have been planning and organizing a Impact Concert. We've been talking about this at several different, it's good to see you guys. We've been talking about this at several different Eden Fractal events over the past couple of months, and it looks like we're going to be doing it finally. I think they were saying that the tentative date is next week, which I think is August 7th or August 6th or August 8th. I suppose we'll hear exactly what the dates are, and we'll also plan out any specific details. Also, Zaal has been helping out with this too, so we'll hear from everybody and figure out the best ways to support the Impact Concert and the fractal ecosystem with this Fractal Impact Concert. As well as, well, I already mentioned the mid-season break. If anybody has any comments about that, then feel free to share. And then lastly, we can just have an open discussion with the fractal ecosystem as well. Before we started this Eden Town Hall, we were having some great discussions, just kind of general discussions about fractals. So if anybody else has any other thoughts or questions about fractals, then feel free to share them in the chat or raise your hand throughout. I see Tadas is writing that where can he learn more about Fractal of Fractals idea? And Rosemary's asking what date next week. And also Zal had shared a link to the nouns.build/DAO/base, which we've been hearing a lot about the Nouns DAO Africa. And that actually might be Tevo had asked, can you share some DAO Africa onboarding info or some general landing page? And he
And he
shared.
already shared. I got the link and it has even more links. So
Okay.
I will dive in deep into it later.
Okay, very cool. Thanks, Tevo, for sharing. Yeah, just another topic that we could perhaps dive into at some point is this nouns to Africa. So generic vibes and Timothy and several other people in the Nouns to Africa community have been working to implement the respect game, or at least planning to implement the respect game into the Nouns to Africa operations and events and so forth. So that's also a topic that perhaps we can discuss too, and would be interested to learn more and appreciate everybody working to contribute fractals throughout the world. So I see Easy saying we're thinking the 7th, 1 week from today, which we can talk about more and lock in a date today. And then Zal had shared, if anyone wants to unmute, by the way, I'm just reading out some comments, but for example, Zal, if you want to respond and just unmute, then feel free if anyone wants to jump in. Zal had written in the chat in response to Tadas that honestly, with regards to where you can learn more about the fractals, I honestly pretty new, more brainstorming now. He created this Zaal fractal, a fractals proposal as a way for so folks who can't make his weekly meetings, the Zaal fractal events, can organize a fractal at a one-off time with 4 people minimum, with anyone who has been a part of the regular fractals can host. So for anybody who's not familiar with the Zaal fractal, you can check out the Zaal.com. This is the Zaal stands for the Z Talent Artist Organization, and it empowers independent creators to reclaim profit margins, data, and IP rates, or IP rights, I should say. And you can check out some great artists who join these Zaal Fractal events and who create on-chain music and so forth on the Zaal.com. You can click in on their profiles as well as the Zaal token page. You can learn a bit more about the Zaal Fractal with a presentation. Zaal hosts these events on Mondays at 6 p.m. EST, I believe. There's some details here, and there's also a lot more details on the Charmverse page too. And you can find out, you can join these events by going to the calendar tab. And then there's a luda.ma/event page here where you can join this. Zal has been hosting this for over 1 year now. He's on Zal Fractal number 62 coming up this next Monday. So big shout out to Zal and everybody in the Zal Fractal community for for contributing to this and bringing together musicians and bringing together creators across Web3 and giving people respect and helping to proliferate fractal governance across society. So I've joined some of these events and really love them. And yeah, I remember too, Zal, there was a proposal that you had written on Charmverse, and then you had asked me to pull up my screen at I think last week's Optimism Fractal event. So if you did want to share, even though it's early days, as you said, or even though it's more so brainstorming now, then I would be happy to bring up the proposal on the page if you want to share. Oh, I see prop.thezao.com, but it's behind a token gate. Okay, well, yeah, I'll see if I can join it. I guess anybody who has the Zao token could do it. I think I have Zao tokens, but I don't know if I can log in quickly right here. So maybe if you want to maybe share your screens all, or if you want to unmute, I don't know if you're able to talk right now, but be happy to share your thoughts. Or I'm curious also, I suppose we have several topics on the agenda. So I've kind of just been going on and on about all these different things because there's been a lot of inspiration. But I suppose we can also decide just what we want to discuss first. I see Zal suggests let's rock out impact concerts, and I see Easy's on camera and unmuted. So
Woohoo!
yeah, maybe that's best. We'll start out with the impact concerts, and then afterwards we can talk about fractals of fractals, as well as the legislative consensus process options for Epoch 2, as well as anything else that we have time to discuss. How's that sound? And do you want to share some thoughts now, Easy?
Sounds great. Yeah. So we've been kind of kicking around the idea of doing a fractal impact concert for quite a while. I'll give a brief rundown of what impact concerts have been. It sort of started out of actually getting Jose funded to go and meet and start working with the Watuha tribe in the Amazon in Venezuela. And we did a couple fundraising concerts to raise some funds for getting him there and some gear for the tribe that was needed, and it was very successful. And so we took that kind of impact, that fundraising concert, and slowly over the last 5 years developed them into what we call the impact concerts. What they have been up to this point has been mostly giving a voice and bringing light and trying to help raise funds for social goods, social impact public goods projects that are verified on different blockchain platforms like Giveth, Gitcoin, Octant, what's the Artisan. So we've done these concerts where we'll have speakers from those projects come and speak, but instead of just having 10, public goods projects speak, which kind of runs together and it's hard to separate them, we have music, live music from people all over the world in between each speaker. So you have a speaker that'll talk for 5 or 10 minutes and then a musician play, 2 or 3 songs, and it gives sort of a more lively atmosphere, and it's really fun, and people get to learn about these projects and raise some funds for them. Generally, we do those with a quadratic funding round, so it's a lot higher impact. This will be the first one that's not really aimed at public goods and fundraising. This is kind of our first one that's more about educating and onboarding into fractal governance. So it's going to be kind of a new phase for impact concerts, which we're really excited about. And kind of, it'll be a bit of maybe a different format. What we were thinking is to have some music. We always incorporate Web3 security. So generally we start off with either somebody, Web3 security expert, or someone just out of our community that has some focus on that. So we start out with a little bit of, how to stay safe with your wallets and whatnot, a brief kind of Web3 security expose, and then a song to sort of set the vibe. And then we roll into, our speakers. In this case, I was thinking if we could have a few people that are, doing fractal governance come and speak and just give a short kind of maybe a little bit about how they got into fractal governance and then what they're doing with it. That would be a great way for people that are new to this and in the audience to sort of get some different perspectives and understand a little bit about fractal governance. Then maybe some music, and then we could go into maybe sort of a roundtable discussion with maybe Dan and Zaal. Generic Vibes was interested in coming. They're trying to get fractal governance into the announced out Africa. Myself, maybe if there's any other people that, if Tadas, if anybody that's been, doing this wants to jump in on that sort of more of a roundtable discussion, that would be really great. And then we could sort of, have a bit of a discussion, have some music play, get some, questions from the participants, the people that have come to learn about this for onboarding, and just sort of do it. And it'll be a little different. It won't be kind of as maybe timed out with 8-minute speaker slots and then 5-minute music slots or whatever, but we can incorporate some great music. There's a lot of musicians. The Zaal has a lot of great talented musicians, and we can pull in a couple of other really great musicians from all over the world. I know Duodo was interested, and so that's kind of the overall view. We were thinking, we've been kind of talking about trying to get one together for quite a while. The August 7th, a week from today date, was thrown in as an idea because it's during the break, and Jose leaves back to Venezuela a couple of days after that, so we could do it while he's still in the States. It's not absolutely necessary. We've done them all previously when we're in different parts of the world, but we thought it could be cool to do together. So if people here feel like that's not too soon, Jose's been working on a flyer, a poster to get out on social media, and it'd basically just be getting a couple more fractal people that are in the fractals to kind of come in and share, and we can schedule it out fairly easily. It's just about getting the word out kind of soon so we can get people that are interested to know about it and then be able to come show up. The other thing is deciding where we host this. We've generally done the majority of them in the Token Smart Discord, which is a Discord that has been around since 2018, 2019. Done a lot of different crypto blockchain things. Many projects have launched out of there. But we're totally open for if there's a fractal space that it could be hosted in, or even we've done more recently a couple out of Twitter spaces. So that's a possibility. All right, I see hands up. Unmute, jump in.
Thanks so much. Easy. I see Will has his hands up, so we'll pass it to Will in a moment. Also want to give a warm welcome to Gudasol and also Timed. Thanks so much for joining. Great to see you, Gudasol. Long time no see. Looks like you're in a very cool place out there. So if you guys want to say hello, you'd be very welcome. But maybe first we'll pass it over to Will because as you joined, Easy was just talking about the Impact concert. And so yeah, curious to hear what Will's thoughts are. And then at some point soon, I'll share my screen too. So if people aren't familiar with the Impact concert, I can give them a little overview of the some of the past Impact concerts and the Token Smart channel and so forth, and some of their work, so you can see the outstanding music and Impact concerts that they've hosted previously. All right, Will, do you want to share some thoughts?
I do. I want to share an idea for the formatting of the Impact concert. And I think what would also be super cool and easy, I love everything you outlined. Also, if we can include a panel of community members who participate in these events to kind of get their perspective on what is the value that they're deriving from this participation, right? You know me, you know how I operate as a blockchain educator. I focus on leading with the value of participation more than it being an investment vehicle, right? As the first conversation we have. Similar to Eric, similar to Eric, who was in the Fractal meeting, who's not here in the town hall, right? It's introducing people to things that are familiar to them, but that the blockchain ecosystem has aspects that are a qualified replacement, but it's not going to be that much of a stretch from what they're already doing in their daily lives, right? So yeah, I would say let's get a panel of community members. I would love to be on that panel. I could even moderate it if you need me to during the Impact concert. And yeah, let's frickin' go.
Love it. That is a beautiful addition, and that is exactly why we're here, to get the input, to kind of co-create this thing into being. And yeah, that's brilliant. That is a great way, I think, to let the people that haven't been in a fractal hear directly from participants, why they do it, what they get out of it, how they join. So yeah, love it. We'll definitely include that. I'm taking notes.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, Easy. I love it too. Thanks, Will. And yeah, there's also been some really interesting comments in the chat too between Tadas and Zaal about fractals too. So somebody will get into that. I see Time saying easy, nice shirt. And definitely staying with crypto. I commented on that before too. Also, I can't see your hat. It's on something out of advice, but I'm sure that's a cool hat too.
Not financial advice.
Okay, good to know.
None of
with
this is.
the Kane Mayfield with that Kane Mayfield sticker I see with
Oh
the
yeah,
tag, whatever. Yeah.
my cane pin.
All right, very nice. Good to hear from you, Time, by the way. Also, Timothy, I saw you were putting out some fun emojis there and some hearts and support and stuff like that. So thanks for sharing that. And looking forward to hearing from you. I see Perry said, is he still a reigning champion of the the Fractal DJ contest? I think so. Yeah, actually, I don't know, Perry, if you've seen the Fractal DJ chat, but it's been resurrected. People have been posting in there for the first time in like since almost 2 years since we actually had that. So thanks, Perry. For anybody who doesn't know, Perry was the original inspirer, I suppose, for Fractal DJ, or at least in large part of it. He thought we should do that for the 1 year anniversary, and then he did it, or we all did it together for the 1 year anniversary of Eden Fractal, and then Perry won with some great song, some funny song in my breakout room at least. There's another breakout room that somebody else got level 6 for, but yeah, you still are level 6. And actually, speaking of the Fractal DJ, that's something I brought up with Zaal at one point. I would mean to contact Easy about this and Jose, but maybe it would make sense to do Fractal DJ at the Impact concert too, because like you said, a bunch
Yes.
of amazing musicians, and we could try doing a Fractal DJ where people share their music and then they can rank each other's music with the Fractal process, with the respect game. So that's an idea that we could try. That could be very interesting to explore, and that can make it even more fractal. And then
Fractal DJ live. Is that
Fractal
what
DJ
you're
live.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Live fractal DJ session. It's going in the notes.
Cool.
All right. Very nice. Yeah, maybe I'll go ahead and share my screen. So for anybody who's not familiar with Fractal DJ or with NFT Smart, I see he's all putting yes, Fractal DJ. He wants it ASAP. I don't know, Perry, if there's anything else you wanted to share. If you wanted to chime in with anything else, then feel free. And otherwise, I'll go ahead and share my screen to give people context. But if you want to go first, then feel free as well.
No, that's it. That's it. Thank you. That's it.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, great to hear from you, the reigning champ of Fractal DJ, the Fractal DJ, or the most Fractal DJ out there. Along with, I think, I don't know who's the other winner there. Who wants to check it? I've actually updated this website a little bit briefly. I just put it to a different site because it was previously at edencreators.com/DJ, but now it's at edencreators.com/fractal DJ. It's kind of a quick article, and I don't know actually. So we did curate the video from the Eden Fractal 1 year anniversary where we played Fractal DJ, or at least one of the videos. And yeah, basically the idea here was that anybody could sing a song, play a musical instrument, rap, dance, share a link to a YouTube video in a chat. And then basically we would reach consensus in Fractogram to determine who receives the most respect, second most respect. We also had some fun prizes here too. If you go into t.me/Eden Fractal, the Eden Fractal Telegram chat, you can see some of the videos that people shared, as well as some of the new things that people have been sharing in the chat, some new interesting music and music related topics. This is a TokenSmart YouTube channel, youtube.com/@TokenSmart. And this is where the live streams are recorded. As Easy said, they do it usually in the TokenSmart Discord, I believe, and it gets live streamed onto the TokenSmart YouTube channel. There's also other shows here. So every week, I believe, Easy hosts the Easy's Corner. He also co-hosts this with Jose, who's chilling right there next to Easy. It would be great to hear from you, Jose, at some point. And much peace to you too. Great to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. So yeah, I've enjoyed watching a lot of these and listening. It's great educational content about Web3 and security, as you mentioned, as well as you can learn all sorts of cool things about funding sources and just like the latest developments going on in the on-chain world. Plus, there's the impact concerts where they have great creators who are generally doing things like in the public good space and so forth. And so it's a great way to learn about people who are doing just amazing things on chain to help the world be a better place, as well as all these amazing musical performances. You can see Jose playing the guitar a little bit there, and there's a bunch of other great musicians like Valenz and others who join here too. So I'm really looking forward to the Fractal Impact Concert. And I think it's a wonderful way to celebrate the fractal ecosystem and help spread the word. I see Gudasol writing that he loves the music icon there. You can check out, here's just a few that I've watched and checked out, but you could see that like the format, people kind of just join in the Discord, play music, it's real chill, and then talk about what they're doing. And then there's a chat going on too, so you can listen in, you can join in and talk, you can share what you're doing, help support fractals. Also want to give a quick shout out to, this is kind of not totally related, but it's fairly closely related, which is that Easy co-hosts another show with Zaal and some other people. And I see this last episode, Jose was there, actually watched a little bit of this and really enjoyed it. So this is the Zaal Presents Let's Talk About Web3, which they've been doing recently, where they talk about all sorts of Web3 stuff with a lot of musicians, some of whom might join the Fractal Impact Concert. And this is something that's like kind of associated with the Zaal Fractal as well. So encourage people to check this out. A lot of great Web3 education here as well.
Did you just gloss over episode 7? I think you need to go back to that. I think they had a special guest on episode 7.
Our first big special guest was the one, the only Will T.
How could I forget about episode 7? Well, yeah, I listened to 10 minutes so far of this, actually. Thanks for reminding me, because I listened to it and then I got distracted and I have to listen to the rest of this episode. But yeah, encourage people to check out episode 7. I've enjoyed watching Will T's podcast on the Optimism Show and other places. I see Zaal says loving this. He's smiling from ear to ear right now. Great to see episode 7. Tom's saying, yeah, check it out. Check out episode 7 and also check out episode 1 through 11 as well. And also check out Jose's YouTube channel too. I see Jose. I know Jose shared a few videos in the Fractal Discord, and much appreciate sharing. I've enjoyed listening to these. Jose is a really talented musician, plays, I believe, classical guitar and sings, and it's really wonderful. We actually had the pleasure to hear him play a song at Optimism Town Hall a little while ago, and that was awesome. So encourage you to like and subscribe and check out the music. If you guys want to share anything else about the Impact Concert, Easy or Jose, then feel free. Or if anybody has any questions, I see Rosemary saying, me too, it's fun. So I suppose we're agreed on the date then of August 7th. Is that correct? Or is it still kind of like up in the air, basically?
If everybody's good with that, we can lock that in and then start getting some information out on socials. Jose has got a great little flyer started. Oh, I wonder how we can share that. Maybe if you send it to me, I can share it in the chat here. It's still not totally locked down. We're partially waiting till we have consensus on the date
right now because it's on Canva and I have to save it and then send it to you on Bluetooth.
We can try and share that in the near future. We're getting a windstorm here in the campground. One other thing that we had an idea of, which we might try and pull off, is making an impact respect token that could be that it could premiere at the Impact
Yes,
Fractal
that's
concert,
exactly
and
what
then to be
Tom
able
and
to
I
give
were
that
just
to
talking
people
about.
that speak.
That
Nice. Yeah.
that
Anybody that's like participating that comes that asks a question, to the people that are on the panels, to the people hosting, to and I don't know if if Perry's still here. Let me get back to the other screen here. As reigning champion, maybe he wants to host or co-host the Fractal DJ session. We're totally open to anybody that wants to participate be able to participate.
I'd be happy to. I don't know what that involves other than just showing up and giving feedback, but if that's an invitation, why not? Thank you.
Totally. Yeah. Share me like maybe a good social in the chat to connect with you, or like Telegram or Twitter or a Farcaster or anything like that, so I can shoot you a DM here after this, and we can connect on that.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Cool.
All right. Sounds great. Well, thanks, Easy. I see Will T saying impact respect, the ultimate reward. That's awesome. Also, Timothy saying at me on Farcaster as well, too. So yeah, encourage everyone to get involved with the Impact concert and love to see the connections forming over here. Timothy sharing his Farcaster.xyz/Swarthy Hatter, I believe it's pronounced. And yeah, I also wanted to add regarding the Impact concert respect, or I think that's what we call it, Impact concert respect. So yeah, feel free to I mean, that sounds like an awesome idea. And so curious to hear more about this and see in action, and feel free to reach out with questions. Maybe it'd be good for us if you want to meet to talk about this more, say in the week coming up. If there's anything I can do to help, then feel free to let me know. I think
It might be worth meeting before the weekend or over the weekend, just because it's next Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'd be happy to meet tomorrow or over the weekend on Sunday or something like that. So let's just I suppose follow up in the chats, or if you want to figure anything here, then we can. But
Yeah, I think Sunday would be great, because let's see, we go, then we'll be back from our road trip.
Okay, sounds great. Do you want to maybe just send a message?
Sunday afternoon maybe would be perfect.
Okay, sounds good. I'm available on Sunday afternoon. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know if others want to join too, but maybe if others want to join, we can do that, or we could just have it where we'll announce. I suppose I'm also curious what time did you give a time for the Impact concert on the 7th, or
well, that's another thing that we didn't lock in. Let's see, we could. Thursdays are generally a good day for trying to get people to show up, generally better than Friday, because Friday sometimes people are going out and about more. We'll have people, it's hard to get the time. The time is honestly sometimes the hardest thing, because there's, a lot of different time zones that, we'd like to have people join from. What was maybe one of the most successful ones?
But also those were made for quadratic funding rounds. We had projects from different time zones, but in this case, the Fractal community, I think that we are doing something to onboard our friends and to onboard our community that might have a similar time zone. So I think that we can think more local in that sense.
Well, we don't want to be too late in case we want Europeans to be able to come too. So what, like probably.
Well, why don't we do? Here's a suggestion. Why don't we do the same time as these meetings, right? And then Dan, if we have it here in the Zoom, Dan don't you have the ability, Dan, to stream it out onto YouTube? Or no?
Yeah, I believe so. I've never actually streamed from
Zoom
before, but I'm sure it's possible. I've seen that feature available before. So yeah, something that's something we can arrange easy if you'd like. I know you're usually doing Discord too, so happy to do whatever you think is best. But if you'd like to do it at this time or in the Zoom, then we could do that too.
Yeah. The more platforms and the more places we're getting it out to, the better. Token Smart can usually get it out to the YouTube, over to the live Twitter, and I think Twitch. But definitely, like the more accounts and platforms that it's streamed to, just has that much more chance of somebody being able to come and see it, and maybe they even then hop into the Discord.
And anybody who has a window to transmit it can be a television point, and if you have a community, if you're a Twitch streamer,
So I think from Will's suggestion, 11 Pacific, 2 Eastern.
Okay, that works for me. I know also Rosemary had said it has 7 UTC, and then Zal had put 17 UTC makes sense. So I suppose that would be 18 UTC if it's 2 p.m. Eastern. So either one of those times works well for me, and I suppose just let me know whatever works best for you guys. And also just let us all know, and however we can support. And then I also know in the chat, Will had said he could join Sunday, and Timothy said he can Sunday afternoon works for him, and Timothy also said he could play some piano. And so there's also some comments too that how we can make how is also we can make sure to invite Nouns DAO Africa and a special guest, and since they're interested in fractals too. So yeah, I'm happy to support it however I can. Also, I'd be happy to stream it on the Eden Creators YouTube channel too, and stream it to our audience too, and have it so we can watch there. And I see that Will said he can stream to the KF Media X account. I suppose we can also probably stream
Great.
to the Eden Creators X accounts too. So happy to help support and increase the distribution however we can.
Dan, one thing that I will it will be helpful is if you can give me again the images without background, because they now have a dark background. The first one has a white background, the next one has a dark background, but they still have a background, you know.
I have a background deletion tool. Yeah, that I can
Okay,
also
I can do
possibly.
it locally here with ETH then.
I think I have
Okay.
a tool. So
All right.
I had
Sounds
said
good.
11,
Sorry,
but there were a couple. Oh, sorry. So I had mentioned 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern. But if there's more of consensus around 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 Eastern, then we could do that. If people think that's going to help for their time zones, whether that's Africa or Europe, then that's not a problem.
Okay, well, that works for me. I suppose if we want, we could put a poll too, if anybody wants to let people know in the chat, if that time works well for them. Zal also said, let's make sure we send Sunday meeting invite to Eden Fractal Telegram. So just to be clear, is that Sunday meeting, is that kind of like an open meeting? We can promote it there and anybody can join to help plan the Impact concert? Or do you prefer if that's like a smaller thing where maybe just a few of us are there planning it?
Maybe we make it open and try and have like a core meeting at the beginning where people that aren't in the planning can kind
I'd
of
say you
listen
can
and then
even, yeah, I would say you can even have people who aren't in the planning just chat their suggestions. And if people have suggestions, they can do it there. And then, the three of us can be chatting. So anyone who wants to add their input are welcome, but we don't get derailed by that as well.
Yeah. And let me check. So we should be home. We
Sounds
leave
good.
Saturday. Yeah. So Sunday. Let's see. We should probably pick a time for that too.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good. Also, while you look at your schedule and timing and stuff like that too, I see Perry said any of the Sunday times are fine with me. I also want to just give a quick note to the time too, because it's about 6 minutes from the top of the hour. We did start the town hall like 15, 20 minutes late because we got so caught up in interesting conversations at the end of Eden Fractal. We had some other topics on the agenda, including the Zaal Fractal of Fractals, which I know there's some comments about above. I don't know if we want to talk about that at all here, but we'd be happy to, Zaal, if you'd like to. And I know Tadas was interested in that too. And also the legislative consensus process that we discussed a lot. at the last event, we were discussing between Eden Plus Fractal consensus process, which we previously used, or something like ORPOLs. And I think we were leaning towards selecting the Eden Plus Fractal consensus process. So maybe before we wrap up today's event, we can briefly talk about that if it'd be helpful, or we could talk about it in the chat too. I don't want to keep everybody too long, but I think that it would probably be best to keep the town hall going for a little while longer for anyone who wants to stay for longer. But if anybody does need to go at the top of the hour, then feel free. And if anyone wants to say goodbye or share any last words before you got to go, then feel free. Also want to once again give a warm welcome to Gudasol. I saw you're on camera, and it's been a long time since we haven't seen you. So if you did want to say hello or anything like that, then feel free. Would be curious to hear what you've been up to, as well as Jed too. We haven't heard from you, so or if Rosemary or anybody else wanted to share any thoughts, then feel free. But I see Easy and maybe has finished checking his calendar and stuff like that. So maybe we want to
Yeah, let's lock in for the Impact concert Thursday the 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, and that's probably going to be get more, people in Europe or, Africa. I think that's going to be a little better.
Yeah.
So we can lock that time in for the Impact concert, 10 a.m. Pacific for Thursday the 7th, a week from today. And for the meeting on Sunday, would like noon Pacific, 3 Eastern work for everybody here? Or Zaal and
Yeah,
Dan?
that works for
Yeah.
me.
works for me too.
Okay, great. Will, yep, great. Okay, I'm putting that in my notes.
It's all right, works-ish. Okay, yeah. If some better time works for you all, then I suppose just let us know and we can coordinate in the chat or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that. Okay, sounds good. So look forward to seeing it, and then I suppose we can share a message in the Eden Fractal chat too, so that
Yes.
people can be aware of the final time. Zaal, later the better for him as he's doing some housework. But
Okay, we can go later. That's fine with me. Totally good.
okay, sounds good.
Then?
No, for the meeting.
Okay.
Sunday.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Rosemary shared the Eden Fractal Telegram chat, so maybe it would be good if we do it like an hour later or something like that, or 2 hours later to make it better for Zal's schedule. I'm fine too later. So Zal said perfect. Zal, do you have a preference? What time is perfect for you? And maybe we'll base on that 5 p.m. EST. Hopefully that works for everybody.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. I see Timothy said that works for him too. So, and we can always figure out in the chat. And of course, we'll be hosting the Impact concert, or Easy will be hosting the concert with Jose on. It looks like the time is now settled on Thursday on August 7th at 17 UTC, which is 1 p.m. Eastern time and 10 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, great. Well, I'm looking forward to that very much. This has been a very productive discussion. I'm super stoked for the Impact concert and looking forward to seeing everybody there at the planning session of the Impact concert. Really appreciate you guys, Easy and Jose, for going for working so hard and organizing this. A huge shout out to you guys. And so I think it's gonna be wonderful. And then also appreciate everybody's interest and support for the Fractal Impact concert as well. I see Timothy said he'll look for those links in Telegram. I'm not sure if you joined the Eden Fractal Telegram, but I think Rosemary just shared the link, t.me/Eden Fractal. So Timothy, if you want to join there, then happy to catch up. And also we'll catch up more in Powercaster as well. And sounds good. See you soon. If you want to say goodbye, then feel free. But otherwise, thanks so much for joining and hope you have a fantastic day. All right. So I think we've accomplished everything we need to do for now with the Impact concert, and we'll discuss that more in the coming days. And now we can move on. I know Tadas and Will and I and Zaal were all discussing the legislative impact the legislative impact concert. No, the legislative consensus process. But maybe first, I don't know. I see Gudasol's on camera, and I think before maybe you unmute. I don't know. Gudasol, if there's anything you want to share, then feel free. It's just been a while since we've heard from you, or Jed, or anybody else. If you have anything on your on your mind, then we've been talking Impact concert for a while, so we can have a bit of open conversation before we move on to another topic if we want.
Yeah, I just want to say hi. It's great to see you, Dan. Great to see you, Perry, and bump into some new faces. Yeah, I was on the fence about joining the whole fractal process, but I've just been so like outside of it. So when I got the second, I can come and just say hi. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of stuff. CXC, we just launched a token on SUI network. So we're building like a listen to earn system. And that's kind of the biggest project I'm working on. Yeah, just refocusing my efforts on CXC, and then Tetra still in the future distantly. So that's my update, and keep it rolling, and great to see you guys.
All right. Great to see you too, Gudasol. Thanks for joining. I saw when you joined, Rosemary said something like the legend himself, the Enche the Sun, something like that. Yeah, there we go. So great to see you too, and congrats on the progress with CXC music. I believe the website is cxc.music, where you can see
World.
dot world. Okay, nice. And maybe I'll pull that up on screen in a little while. And Easy said, listen to earn spuds, rad. Yeah, congrats on the token launch on Sui too, and also looking forward to whenever you get around to Tetra. I know you were planning to implement some fractal governance processes there when at some point in the future. So appreciate you taking the time to join us, and yeah, great to see you. It looks like you've been doing well out there in the jungle. So glad to hear. People who aren't familiar, you can check out music.cxc.world or just cxc.world. And you can see the app that Gudasol's been building for quite a while now, where you can find musicians from around the world and find their music from around the world. And there's a whole tokenomic system here as well, where you can earn by posting and meet other musicians around the world too. So I think we featured this in past episodes. If there's anything else you'd like to share here, Gudasol, real quick, then feel free. Or even if you want to take a bit more time, I don't want to rush you because I know you've been doing really cool stuff. But yeah, I encourage people to check it out, especially we have some great musicians in the group now. So thanks for all the great work, Gudasol, and looking forward to the next steps. And if you want to share any links too about, for example, your new token on Sui or anything like that, then be happy to check it out. And yeah, we have been here for a while too, so we could wrap it up at any moment now if people want to go and so forth. I see Easy said, sounds rad, just bookmark music.cxc, sounds great. And then yeah, cxc.world/liftoff. Very interesting. Okay, cool. Maybe it'd be good to also, I know, is Tadas still here? Yeah, Tadas is still here, even though it's late. Tadas, I don't know if you want to discuss the consensus process at all, because that was one thing that we had on the agenda that we had agreed last time to create our consensus process or implement a consensus process for Eden Fractal Epoch 2 and have that set by by the time we return from the mid-season break. And I was thinking that over, and we had a great discussion, and I think Tadas was leaning towards readopting the Eden Plus Fractal consensus process, which is a process where we elected delegates each week or each event basically during the respect game. And we also were talking about an OR polls, which is a new design for a consensus process for legislative consensus process. And we had a pretty detailed discussion with that at the last episode, but I just wanted to follow up that thought. And because we did say that we are going to try to implement that by the return from the break. And to me, it seems like going with Eden plus Fractal consensus process is good. I think the OR polls is promising, but I didn't get a chance to look into it like too deeply because I know that Tadas said there was some issues with it, which I agreed with. I did look at it, and there was some things I wasn't totally sure about. I'm actually sharing the CXC liftoff right now that that Gudasol has shared, cxc.world.liftoff. So maybe if you want to share any more about that, Gudasol, after we discuss this, then you can do so, feel free. But people can see on the screen more about this liftoff of the token on the Sui blockchain, I believe. And then the other thing I was going to show as well was just to continue the discussion about the consensus process. For some reason, the site is showing a little bit messed up right now where it's overlapping. But anyway, this Eden plus Fractal consensus process is what we use for Eden Fractal for over a year for our consensus process in order to make collective decisions. It's based upon a system that Tadas had designed about 2.5 years ago, towards the beginning of Eden Fractal. We adopted it in the Eden Fractal 18th episode, where we elect a delegate in each episode or in each event. And then those delegates form councils, and then those councils can pass proposals. This is part of the Eden Fractal. There's also a video too that I did with Tadas of Creator Talk, where we talked about this in a lot more detail. This, you can find this at edencreators.com/plus. And then we also had some other, this is actually the spreadsheet that we had used. So I guess we could return or revote or like re-implement the spreadsheet. It's not the best user interface maybe, but it worked for what it had, or for the time that worked. We also talked about different consensus process like the Optimus Fractal Council, which uses Snapshot, which is kind of a more sleek user interface, but they all have like pros and cons basically. So this is where we use fractals and fractals. So that was an option, but this one doesn't have the same kind of like discussions during the events. But this has worked pretty well in a lot of ways. And then the other one we're talking about was polls, which is an optimistic respect-based polling system, which we have never actually tried, but we had thought about at the beginning of Optimism Fractal. You could see some early draft rules there, and then at some point Tadas had made some more specific draft here, and then I left some comments here. So we have this kind of in progress, but we haven't tested yet, and there would be some thinking required to do that. So to my mind, it seemed like we could start with the Eden Plus Fractal because we know that works well enough, and then we could try out different things. And then just going back to like the kind of, to put this in context, we have this Epoch 2 implementation plan where we've been fulfilling the vision of Eden Fractal and Epoch 2, where, about 3 months ago or so, we set off on this Epoch 2 where we started building on Base and Ethereum and started playing the respect game again and so forth. And we've been bringing together these elements, like we deployed the Ordar software on Base to form the backbone of the Onchain infrastructure, and we started playing the respect game again, and we started Eden Town Hall again, where we are now, and we've configured 2 different fractal gray maps to play the respect game. And then there's other things we're going to do, like implement this legislative consensus process and intent document and a participant agreement and stuff like that. And then we also have other ideas like capital allocation framework and stuff and respect distribution, but that's basically kind of like what we're doing as a community, or like a kind of high-level overview in addition to respect games, where we're going. And so the next step we agreed is basically this legislative consensus process and figuring out the right one. And I have kind of like a overview with some thoughts here about how this could work, but I just want to give kind of an update there because we said we would. And if anybody has any thoughts about that, then feel free to share. But I suppose otherwise, it seemed like there was mostly consensus. I think I was the only person who was kind of like pushing for the war polls because I think it's really nice and interesting. But after thinking about more, I think Eden Plus Fractal is also great. And I think we can make it work. And maybe we can use that for the second half of the season. And then we could try out some different consensus process maybe in the next season, but we'll have more time to plan out or polls or something else in the future too. I see Tadas is joined back on the camera, so I don't know, Tadas, if you want to comment on this, or I know Will and Zaal were pretty engaged in discussion. I know other kinds of OGs like Perry and Gudasol participate in the Eden Plus Fractal consensus process quite a bit, and were delegates back in the day sometimes too. So yeah, if anybody has any thoughts about this, then feel free. But I just wanted to just bring it up so we can see if there's any discussions about it, and maybe we can quickly form consensus informally, or I don't know if we want to use some sort of process like ORDOUT to officially adopt a consensus process. Tadas, do you have any thoughts on this, or does anybody else have thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, I think we could just check everyone's thoughts about this here and try to form consensus. Yeah, from my side, I have the same opinion. I don't think we have time here to really discuss any new consensus process and to really work it out. Like I said the last time, more polls, I think it needs some more work. And yeah, we don't have any, we have a break coming up, and if we want to have something by the start of if we want to have something after a break, I think the only option is, and the most sensible option, is to just use what we have used in the past and what has been working to some extent. It could always be better, but I mean, we could bootstrap of what has been working to improve it. So yeah, I think we should start electing delegates in after a break and start with Eden Plus Fractal again. I'm also eager to learn what others think.
Sounds good. I agree, Tadas. I see Perry's unmuted.
Yeah, I'm not really in a position to give informed feedback because I haven't been participating. But my feedback of what Tadas just said and your overview of all the different consensus is that I think the low-hanging fruit is a smooth process. And I view the code part of it, the actual development and the mechanics of reaching that consensus, getting that to as smooth as possible and stable as possible is the most important thing, but it has a competing factor because the developers like Tadas and others who are writing at this moment, they need feedback from real world situations like this. So one suggestion might be to allow, if the developers want feedback, to allow in a normal meeting like this, to allow each group, or not each, well, to when a developer like Tadas participates, then that particular group, that breakout room, is allowed to vote at the beginning of their breakout whether they want to experiment and use a new version that needs feedback. And if they do so, just kind of like what happened to us in our group, we started off with I think what was the newer version, and we ran into some issues, and so you were able to transition us to something that did actually function, and we, for the most part, other than my fault, we were able to reach consensus, and it worked out. But at the same time, there was feedback gained, there was an issue, and that allowed improvement. So I think that may be one way to balance those competing issues of stability from the user point of view, from the participant, and at the same time, feedback to the developers who are actually building what I see as one of the most important, if not the most important part of this, which is the actual mechanics of it. How does it work? How does it function? How does it create that immutability? I mean, otherwise we're just talking on Zoom, and there's nothing truly, well, there are some things that are unique, but what makes it really, really fantastic is this immutability aspect of it, because we're all just sitting in different rooms, and there's no way to judge whether we're actually voting to validate all of our votes. The way I see this process, the easiest way that I can communicate it is to look at it the same way you look at body, mind, and soul. And I see the code developed as the body, and I see the mind as the consensus process, what we all mentally agree is what is the process, and I see the soul as the enthusiasm, which is why everybody is showing up to this group, which is impressive to me, because when I left it, there was just a few of us arguing intensely and just creating a lot of insanity. And so now it's very nice to see a lot of people, a lot of positivity and a lot of enthusiasm. But back to to the body, it's important. Your health is your most important thing, and that treating that as the temple is an important aspect. So that focus on that temple, on the code that is the core of what we're doing, is super important. So that's my suggestion, is to give that option to a breakout group. If they have an expert like Tadas that is familiar with the different options and can guide everybody through in case of a hiccup, that's one suggestion of how to get through that. That's it. That's my feedback. Thank you.
If I could respond real quick, I think that's a great idea, Perry. I had another like strategy for dealing with this, having a separate fractal which basically is focused on development and testing the newest versions. But then the problem is that only people joining that fractal are developers or people like who are really already in the ecosystem, and that does not create scenarios that we just had with a bunch of new people. So that's an argument to do what you just said and test in the real fractal, the main fractal. And I love what you said about mind, body, and soul. I think in a similar way about code, the on-chain part being body of a DAO. But maybe let's come back to the consensus process issue that Dan brought up.
I'm not familiar with the problem of the consensus. Is there something wrong with the process that we just went through? That very simple it seems very familiar to me. It seems like the same one we were using for years. Is there some changes that people are asking for? I haven't caught up on that yet.
Yeah, so that's what we call respect game, what we just did. That's basically, you can call it a consensus process for determining respect distribution, but it is not good for doing for making any other kinds of decisions. If you remember, if in the initial Eden Fractal version, we had Eden Plus Fractal process, and which was basically based on electing delegates in breakout rooms in addition of ranking. Yeah, so we are now considering whether to do that again or do something else when we need to basically pass other kinds of proposals.
I see. The one that kind of creates a bicameral system where you have like a set of congressmen or bottom level legislators, and then they are allowed to move, and then the winners of those are allowed to move to the next level up, like senators, similar to the way the United States or other governments operate in this bicameral system that do not have an executive because there is no central person in charge other than you could say that one of the senators, one of the top level, is anointed as the lead, but there's no executive. So I see what you're saying is that whether to use that, that's an interesting question. That's more complicated and more time consuming. Yeah, I would try to perfect one or the other first. And the easier one, I think, and the more atomic unit, you could say, is what we're doing right now, which is the respect to self. If that can be perfected, then the next process of creating a bicameral system would be easier as a stepping stone.
I disagree with that. I think like it's like it will never be perfect. So what has been working in my experience is iterating, like having first proof of concept of the whole system and then going back, working, improving every part again, and so on. So
I
I can see that. I can understand that. But I think when you do that, you lose because that's bringing the user through all of that experience. I understand that from a developer point of view, you want to get coming in and get the overall picture done and sketch it out, and I understand that. But that's more friction for the user experience. That's just an argument, but you're in the best position as a developer. You're the best position to make that determination because you know exactly the state of each of those code bases and the user experience from them.
I have an unrelated question. Are you also trying agent to help you build this, or have you tried?
You mean to develop in development? Yes. Yeah, agent. No, I have been using some AI tools, some LLMs like Vensurf, but well, I guess the ID version has some agentic functionalities, but yeah, I haven't been using them much up to now.
Is there like a reason?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I was just asking like a follow-up question. Is there a reason? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to respond to that, Tadas? Or I'm happy to respond to it as well.
What is the next question?
Tevo asks, is there a reason why we're not using agents?
Well, there is no strong reasons like past like I think Vensurf integrated. Well, it's basically a tool issue. I'm used to different tools and haven't started like haven't transitioned to some of the other tools. And for me, this is it's not currently a priority in that part, I think.
I understand. Yeah, okay, it's nice to know. Because I also had like an issue regarding like tooling, but then I assumed it's gonna take me 2 weeks to integrate our, but once I did, I'm like, holy shit, my first week was like actually even like opposite. I was feeling down because like I wasted all my life learning this coding, and now this thing just types me. And I don't even code now. I only review, and I take less time reviewing than coding. But that was kind of awkward, like situation. And then I started even looking CVs and like looking companies and up like, are anybody even looking programmers anymore? And then at least this week I started having like stupid errors and stuff that I started manually fixing because it was faster. So I was like, oh yes, I'm still needed, but it's bad. Yeah, I feel like give it a try if you have time, but yeah, like I understand if the tooling is getting a problem.
Yeah, and if have the time and can connect, I would be interested to learn what tooling has worked for you.
I set up the Copilot and Visual Studio Code because I'm mostly like prototyping VBS stuff.
Yeah, so good to know.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, maybe you guys can meet and yeah, I think if anyone wants to contribute to Fractals with AI agents in any kind of way, they can help with development. They can also help with marketing and all sorts of different things too. Then I'd be interested to hear, and all kinds of contributions are welcome. And AI agents are very powerful and becoming more powerful. So it's something that I think would be good to explore to grow Fractals further. But yeah, so far I don't think that anybody's using AI agents that much, although I know many people in the community use AI a lot. There's some good questions in the chat. Easy said yes, or good comments in the chat. He said yes, AI agents are going to be wild. Yep, that's right. Perry says that his response to AI's retirement as a coder, that can work, although the verification and knowing what to prompt is still really important. I think coders have a big advantage in knowing that. Like I wouldn't know how to prompt a lot of those things as a non-programmer. Talking about Claude Code. Rosemary had also commented, she said, she messaged me, are we gonna wrap up soon? Yeah, we should wrap up soon because we've been going for quite a while. I want to return briefly to the consensus process. Maybe we can just form consensus on that real quick. And I just want to provide a bit more context. I think it would be helpful to answer Perry's question. Then maybe we'll wrap it up within the next 5 minutes or so, if that's good with everybody. Also, I saw David said, gotta go. Thanks, everyone. It was really inspiring. And Easy said, have to jump off, but looking forward to Sunday's meeting. And we'll share the poster for social media when Jose gets it polished up. Sounds great. And thanks. I think you meant Cloud Code, maybe Cloud Code. I don't know, Tevo, but thanks for sharing your experience with development tools and all of your insights, as well as thanks Perry and Tadas for the great conversation. Yeah, I suppose before we fully wrap it up, if anybody else needs to go, then don't want to hold you too long. So feel free to drop it off. But I would like to share a little bit more that I think provides a bit more context for the things that Perry was asking about our consensus process and some updates for fractals in general. And then after that, we can have maybe one last quick just open call if anybody has any last thoughts. But otherwise, we can wrap it up and then head into the break, and everybody can enjoy their August. So one thing I want to show, Tadas has been working on this Fraps repository, which kind of like gathers some overview of concepts and different fractals and so forth. And one of the concepts here that's related here is this tripartite governance model that we've talked about. He has a kind of summary of Eden Fractal's processes. I hope you don't mind me sharing this right now, Tadas. I think that you don't mind, but I know you haven't shared it like in some places yet. But yeah, I encourage people to check out this repository because it has a lot of great information about Eden Fractal and fractals in general. And it's like very well organized in a very kind of concise way where you can see the tools, smart contracts, and consensus process and so forth at a high level overview. And then Jaws also defines the tripartite governance structure and the difference between a legislative process, an executive process, and a judicial process. Basically, a judicial process judges or evaluates, an executive process executes. It's the final step in the decision-making process, and a legislative process is the first step in decision-making pipeline where people are working to decide things. For the executive process, we've been using OrDAO. So this is the smart contract infrastructure that Tadas has built, and also the OrDAO app, which Eden Fractal is using now at eden.fraps.xyz, where people can vote with their respect tokens on respect distributions from each respect game or from any other kinds of things that people might want to vote on with their respect tokens to actually basically execute the will of the community in on-chain actions. So that's the executive branch, so to speak, for Eden Fractal. And like Tadas said, we have the respect game as the judicial process, which you can learn at I showed that page before, optimus6.io/respect game, which is what we just played. And then basically what we're trying to determine now is the legislative process. Thanks, Rosemary, for also sharing. You're even faster than me. Rosemary shared edenfractal.com/117, which is the episode in which we really went over this fractal governance architecture, this tripartite fractal governance architecture with the legislative consensus process. We talked about Optimism Fractal in this case, which has the Optimism Fractal Council, and ORDAO. Optimism Fractal also uses ORDAO and the respect game, forming this judicial, legislative, and executive processes. I recommend people to check out this video for more details, as well as in the show notes, you can find my the research mission I've been doing for the Optimism Fractal respect game and research into democratic fund distribution for the Optimism Collective, which has a bunch of research that I've been conducting and figuring out the best ways to distribute funding at scale to support public goods creators or support different communities, organizations with fractal governance. And one of the deliverables was this governance integration strategy, where I had reviewed some of Tadas's documents, as well as just kind of tried to think about it holistically and wrote in more detail about how these three parts of governance can work together, kind of similar to how Perry talked about the executive branch and Congress and the legislative branch and so forth, but with our fractal touches on it and like renewed for going forward in the 21st century with AI and everything like that. So there's a big description about there, and then Tadas gives like a high-level overview there in the Fraps repository, and in the video that Rosemary shared, we give a video overview. We talk about it for like an hour. So those are all great resources to learn about it. And that's just to put it in context, because we have we're working on kind of all these things in parallel, the executive, the judicial, and legislative branches. And right now for Eden Fractal, we've done quite a good job. It can for sure be improved, but the respect game is working pretty well. And the ORDAO software, the ORDAO app is working pretty well. So as we work to improve those, now we also want to continue. Now we also want to build this legislative consensus process to help us form consensus over decisions. And that's where things like Eden Plus Fractal come into play, or the ORPOs. These are off-chain processes where we can form consensus and then we can execute on-chain when we want. And this is also, this plays a key role because one of the intentions here is I'd like to do a pilot program testing this out, distributing. I've said before that I'd like to distribute $1,000 to Eden Fractal community, basically via some sort of probably a nonprofit structure that will basically execute the will of community members that is expressed through the consensus processes. So by having this legislative consensus process, it'll enable us to fully test out this kind of tripartite governance structure in action, and allow the community to have all these different basically there's a really nice balance between this judicial, legislative, and executive branch that will form this kind of this more democratic and more balanced system of governance. So just want to provide a bit more detail there. Oh, and then also I wanted to mention too, because a couple people like Gudasol and Perry are here who are big contributors in Eden Fractal Epoch 1. And I haven't mentioned it recently, but if anybody would like to and hasn't yet done so, everybody's welcome to claim Eden Fractal respect from Epoch 1. So any respect that you earned from Epoch 1, you can claim at eden.fraps.xyz. If you go to, I believe it's, actually, no, it's actually, this is the Eden Fractal app, but if you go to, I believe it's Optimism, or it's base.eden. I don't know, Tadashi, you got to remind me. of.fraps.xyz, because technically the Optimism Fractal community is serving as the oracle for Eden Fractal community members to basically claim their respect from Epoch 1. So you can see there's 6 people so far who have claimed their respect from Epoch 1. And if anybody else would like to claim their respect from Epoch 1, you can go to the claim tab here. And that would make a proposal on chain to the Optimism Fractal community, where people like myself and Tadas and other people who have respect in both communities can approve that proposal, so you can claim your respect. And then you'd be able to vote on proposals in the Eden Fractal app and participate in the Eden Fractal governance, which is at edenfractal.fraps.xyz or eden.fraps.xyz. So encourage you to do so if you'd like to, and if you want to, then this. I see Rosemary and that was Tadas, but it was actually Rosemary sharing the link. So thanks, Rosemary, for sharing the link. And I just shared the link to the video where you can learn more about it. You don't really need to watch the video, but if you want to learn more about it, you can. But otherwise, the app makes it very simple to do so as well. So just want to let people know about that in case you're not familiar, and to also provide some context for the for this governance process and the consensus process and what role it plays. I see Tadas had unmuted a while ago, so thanks for your patience, Tadas. I'm curious if you want to share any other thoughts, or we have been going for like 2.5 hours in total, so we can wrap it up whenever. Happy to everybody's thoughts, but as far as the Eden Plus Fractal business process, Rosemary was cool with it, happy with it, or she said she's up for it, and I'm up for it too. So I suppose that's probably good enough consensus. I think Will and Zaal said that they're up for it too, and I think that Perry was open to it too. So I don't know if we need anything else. If we want, we could put a proposal on that Eden.fraps XYZ just to make it kind of more official that the org DAO supports it too. But otherwise, oh, and one question I have for you, Shadas, is that one thing about the Eden Plus Fractal process is that we don't currently have the way to do it in Fractogram. So I guess then that's an issue too. If we're going to use Abraham's Fractogram app, then I don't know if he's willing to do the development to add that feature, or if we want to go back to using the Telegram app, or if we want to use some other system. So that's something that we have to figure out technically if we do want to use Eden Plus Fractal, as well as I guess we could use a Google spreadsheet again. It's not the prettiest thing, but it works. So those are some questions technically. We can also figure that out over the break if we want to as well. But those are kind of like the next steps there if we want to use that process.
Yeah, I'm aware of those issues, and I will work on it if as I see it, we are up for starting Eden Plus Fractal process after a break, then I will work on it during the break. It shouldn't be much work for Abraham to add another poll for delegate, and I can make it easy for him to do the rest so that delegate is submitted on chain. So yeah, that's probably what I will do.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks to us, much appreciated. And yeah, feel free to let me know if there's anything you do to help at the break. And I suppose we can plan for Eden Plus Fractal and then this process then going forward in the second half of the season, and that can be contingent upon some development. So we can just do our best to implement it then, and then when we return on August 28th, hopefully we'll be able to implement it then, and at that point everybody will be able to join your spec game. Also, after ranking level 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, there'll also be another poll for who wants to be a delegate. And then, oh, there's another thing too about how if Eden Fractal, you would need to become a delegate for 2 months rather than 1 month. So I suppose those are some technical details too. But basically, people would be able to determine after ranking level 6 through 1, you'd be basically choosing one delegate to serve as the basically representative from your group in the council, which would help make community decisions. That's like the overview. Obviously, we can give more details about this and talk about it in more detail when we come back from the break, and also in chat too. But that's kind of like the overview, and then in the preview, for anybody who's not familiar with this process, you'll have the opportunity to be a delegate to help guide the community in that way as well, if you're elected by your breakout room. So does anybody else have any other comments or thoughts here? See Tadas is still muted. I think everybody might be tired now. We used to do long events, but we try to keep them shorter now, but we went long because we had so much to discuss today. So appreciate everyone being here and sharing all the great questions and thoughts and enthusiasm stuff, and really excited for the Impact concert and also the return of Eden Fractal in the town hall in a few weeks. So yeah, does anybody else have any other thoughts, or are we ready to wrap it up? Will said, thanks everyone doing amazing work here. Thank you, Will. Much appreciate what you're doing too.
Great to see you guys. I'll try to hop in without such a long break next time, but good to see you as well, Tadas. And peace.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much, Gudasol. Also encourage people to check out cxc.world.liftoff as we showed before, and he shared the token link in the chat too. So very interesting stuff. Peace, Gudasol, and looking forward to seeing your future projects and your progress. So I'll hope to see you again soon. All right, I think we're probably ready to wrap it up. Is that right, Tevo, or is there anything else you want to say? I think Tevo had to go. Okay. Well, if everybody's up for it, we can say go Eden Fractal.
Let's do it.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so we'll count down to 3, 2, 1, then so go Eden Fractal. Hope to see everybody when we return on the August 28th. Hope that everybody enjoyed the break, and hope to see you at the Impact Concert too on August 7th. And with that, thanks all so much. And 3, 2, 1, go
Eden
Eden
Fractal.
Fractal. All right, thanks all, and see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
See you.
See you.